Check, 1, 2. Hey, hey, hey. Throw your headphones on. See if those come in both ears. You can take pictures too if you want, dude. I don't care. Can you hear both ears? Well. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. Mike is here. Garrett is here. Actually, a few people here.
Packed house.
Yeah, it's going to get worse as the week goes on, trust me. Should be exciting. Should be entertaining. But quite a lot going on. How are you, Garrett?
Oh, I'm here again.
How was your weekend?
It's actually good. I did a lot of garage sailing.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you one of those? I know there are like garage sale people. There are trash picker people.
I'm kind of both of those.
Are you?
To be honest.
Yeah. Beth was one of those. Loved that shit. And I don't know. There's just something about it. I can't quite.
Dude, my dad's a garbage man. He used to
Yeah,
give me
yeah.
sweet mongoose bikes right out of the dumpster, and nobody would know it was a dumpster bike.
I've seen garbage men do that where
Yep.
they're like, yep. And they do something where they throw it like in the front of the truck or something. They keep going on their route, but they keep going. So
Yeah,
your
just
dad
have
being
it.
a garbage man, he probably trained you well, like
Oh, yeah.
what to look for.
I found a sweet Challenger 88, America's back poster with like a rocket coming out of an eagle. I was like,
Awesome.
fuck yes.
You know what it is, dude? Because I've had a lot of shit that I've collected over the years. Lots of little cool things, but I've had to make a decision on like what goes, what stays. And so could I have set up a website and been like, hey, for sale, hey, this is $10, $50,
Yeah,
$100.
it's a lot of effort.
And I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. And so the benefactors have been all the people that work here have been working here. I'm like, here, you want a guitar? Here, you want a fucking whatever?
Damn.
You know, like there's been tons of that shit. I run into it. I'm like, yeah, this isn't going to fit in a 16-foot pot. It's just not. I don't have room. And so there's all kinds of stuff that has just been in the garbage, in dumpsters, in whatever. And
Yeah, like
it's
the shady hats I got to go get.
yeah,
I
you
forgot
better go
to
get
dig.
those. Well, that'll be here for another week or
All right,
so.
cool.
But anyways, I was hoping today to have my buddy Chuck Alkazian, owner of this place, Pearl Sound Studios, in. I've been texting with him all day. I've been texting with him all weekend. And the problem is, because Chuck's not here, he's like, buddy, I'm going to fly to Arizona. I'll be in studio as a guest because he's got an LA studio, a Detroit one. He's in Chicago a lot. And he kind of would like a base somewhere between Chicago or Detroit and LA, and Phoenix is kind of nice. So
Not bad.
yeah. So he's like, I'll fly out there and join you and blah, 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 if I can't make it today. So he's been fucking Chris Brown is at LCA tomorrow,
That
Wednesday night.
motherfucker.
Yeah.
That wife beater.
So Chris Brown is doing rehearsals at his studio. That was what was going on today. And so he's like, I don't know how long these guys are going to be here.
Probably
you know?
all day.
Yeah.
An
that would
ego
be my
like Chris
guess.
Brown, he's going to need all day.
Yeah. So, and I want to be careful. I don't want to get Chuck in trouble. I probably should have even said that, but whatever. So he's been dealing with stuff, and he's got deadlines, recording deadlines. He's kind of a big deal in that world. So, up until literally 2:30, 3 o'clock this afternoon, it was like, bro, I'm fucking buried. I'm trying. And I'm just like, whatever. So I had to prep 2 shows just in case. I didn't know which one was going to happen today. So I pulled a handful of stories so we could do something regardless. I'm sorry. It would have been fucking awesome to have him over here, but we'll make that happen. I'm just running out of days. And I know I had told people that I planned on having Drew as my final guest. And that was the plan. But, when dealing with these people, their schedules are busy. They just are. And so you kind of have to work. Like I wanted Landau in, and Landau is very busy, and he's half the time he's not in the state. And so I planned on shutting the studio down last week. And believe me, I'm getting a lot of shit for keeping it up right now while we're trying to pack and get everything ready. So you're welcome, listeners. But I was like, no, I'm not leaving without having Drew in here. I'm not leaving without having Landau one more time. And so Landau will be in town Friday. He's got a bunch of shit going on Friday. And so he finally confirmed last night, Friday, he'll be here. So
Sweet.
So we'll have Landau in studio Friday. Drew, I was going to do the final show of the week Thursday with Drew. Well, Drew's going out of town Thursday. And so Drew can't do Thursday. And so I'm like, what about Wednesday? And he's like, I can cancel my show Wednesday and come do yours.
Look at that.
So he canceled, as far as I know. Sorry for all you Drew Lane show fans out there. He's not going to be doing a show Wednesday, as far as I can
doing
tell.
A show.
He's doing a show. It's just not the one you're used to. So, and he's not doing one Thursday because he's not going to be in town.
Yeah.
So I took that opportunity to reach out to Brandon, Bentley, and Fellhauer and say, boys, come over Thursday. And
You're
we'll
not
do
off
a
the
show.
clock yet.
You're not out of the woods. And all three of them agreed to do that. So Fellhauer, I was on the fence with. Bentley, I knew would come. Brandon, Mark, I didn't know. Not that he wouldn't come over. Of course he would. But it was, he's got a lot. They all have a lot going on.
Yeah.
They all have kids and shit. And so then it was like, well, what are we going to talk about? And I was like, gay sex. Duh. What else? I mean, yeah. We'll talk gay sex for a couple hours.
I'll get the fag passes ready for him.
You guys can fuck off together. What do you like? I'm like, I don't know, dude. We'll just bullshit. Like, boys, we used to work together. We worked together for many, many years. We'll talk about careers. We'll talk about what
You'll get on mic and it'll just start flowing.
Exactly. I'm not worried about that at all. But I think that'll be a pretty cool week to have Drew tomorrow, to have his team on Thursday, and then Landau on Friday. And then tomorrow, the pod arrives here, and it'll be here until I leave. The plan was to leave on next Tuesday. So now there's been a small wrench thrown into that. Of course, it's my world, so why wouldn't there be? And so longtime listeners may remember, a month and a half ago when I did Drew's show for a week, right? I did 3 shows in a row at Drew's house. And my voice was shot. Voice was fucked. and then I came back here, and it was still rough. And so it was like 2 weeks that I had like no voice. And then it got better, and then it got kind of normal. But it's still, I have this rasp that I didn't normally have. And it's like, well, you've smoked forever. You've done drugs forever. Like, what do you expect? You're going to fuck things up. So no big deal. But I had this appointment scheduled like the week after I did Drew's show with an ENT specialist locally. And I ended up having a conflict with that one, and then they couldn't see me for weeks. And I'm like, fuck, I don't even know if I'm going to be in state by the time June 3rd comes around. I don't even know if I'll be here at that point. I didn't know what my dates were. So I just kept that appointment, and I was going to blow it off. But yesterday I was like, fuck it. My mom was like, your voice sounds fucked up.
Yeah.
So just go. And I'm like, I feel fine though. I feel fine. So I went there and they stuck a camera down and he's like, your right vocal cord isn't vibrating. And I was like, oh.
That sounds like a problem.
He's like, your left vocal cord looks great. And he's got me doing the all this shit and blah. He said, your right vocal cord isn't moving. And I'm like, oh, okay, great. So I'm thinking, he's like, could be a polyp, on there. And I'm like, okay, I've heard of that shit before. He's like, or it could be way worse. And I'm like, thanks. I needed to hear that from you. That's awesome. And totally what I wanted to hear was that it could be something way worse. And so he's like, don't do that. And I was like, what? And he goes, what you just did, clearing your throat. And I go, He goes, don't do that.
Uh-oh.
I was like, okay. I go, it's kind of involuntary, man. He goes, I know. Don't do that. You're going to need to train yourself. Like, literally clearing your throat. Don't do it. Here's a list of shit you can't eat, drink, nothing, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay. And he goes, I want you to get in to see another doctor in this office, a surgeon, who is like the guy with this stuff. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, one thing I've learned from you doctors, it's super easy to get in to see you. And I'm leaving on Tuesday next week. Like a week from tomorrow is what I said to him. I'm fucking leaving, dude. I'm leaving the state and I'm not coming back. He's like, no, you can't.
Uh-oh.
You can't. He said, I will find a way to get you in to see this guy in the next week. I was like, okay.
That is a claim.
Yeah. So they've got me going and they're like, be prepared to sit here for a few hours because we're going to find a way to worm you in between already long scheduled appointments to see this specialist on Monday. And so I'm seeing him next Monday. And now it's like, depending on what he says, I don't know what they do. I don't know what that means. If he's like, it's a polyp, you're good, you can, but, I'm like, well, can't I just take care of it in Arizona? And my doctor was pretty clear, like, no, this is the guy that sees A-list singers from around the world. Like, this is the guy that deals with the vocal cords.
Yeah.
And he's the one you want to see. I don't want you seeing someone in Arizona.
You kind of talk for a living. You might need an expert.
He said, with what you do for a living, yeah. And he's like, I want you to rest your voice completely. I don't want you to. And I was like, not happening, bro. I've got these scheduled shows. I have like my last week in Detroit. He's like, you can do that. He's like, you cannot be yelling. You can't, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, so Garrett better not act up.
Okay,
And I got to
I'll do my
fucking
best.
scream at him because I can't. Apparently, this is probably too loud. He's like, if you just sit talking to the microphone and blah, blah, blah. He's acting like it's really serious. I don't know what the fuck that means. I'm probably dying. Who knows? But
I'll try and do all the yelling for this episode.
yeah. And which sucks because I've got some clips that are going to make me just
I'm looking at 'em.
blood boil. And I know how I can be and how pissed I get at this stuff. So,
I'll hit you with a settle down, Rubes.
yeah, right. And that's probably years of doing settle down, like all that shit, and Officer Walters, and snorting whatever comes in front of me, and it's years of shit like that that's probably put me in this position. And I don't know. It's scary. Honestly, I was telling Travis, like, the last thing I feel like doing is this right now. Like, my head is a million miles away dealing with that shit. I don't deal with stress well. I'm sorry, John. I think I took it out on you earlier. Like, people coming over. I'm sorry. Like, I just, John Hine is here. He's not on mic, so it's, but
He's our Hummer guy.
he's the Hummer guy, yeah. And he's like, yeah, it's just the nicest thing in the world. I want to bring this by.
I'll be
and
honest. Nice.
It's dope, isn't it?
It's pretty fucking dope.
Yeah.
But still a toy.
But usually when people come over here, like we've had people come in here for years, and I know how special it was for me as a fan to walk into Drew and Mike's studio for the first time. I know what it was like to walk into Anthony Cumia's studio for the first time. And all you want is for those people to be fucking cool. You don't want them to be pompous assholes. You want people that you go, wow, I've listened to this guy for years. I feel like I know this guy. I know that feeling. And so I want to treat people that come in here like that. Like, these people I've met at bars, I've met at stuff. When they come to my house and sit in for a show, it's like, let's order food. Let's fucking make it special. Like, and I was telling John, I'm like, I'm sorry, bro. I can't do that today. I just
We don't
can't.
have
I'm
anything.
not there right now. So I hope you understand, man.
I was trying to make it special for you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I do. I'm sorry. I'd swing a mic over, but it's whatever. Actually, you know what? Swing that mic over. He's on the yellow one. Just because you did bring the Hummer over. Go ahead. Are you there? Say,
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, there you are. And so, John, you've listened for a long time, and you'd sent an email in about the Hummer electric vehicle, which I've seen on the road. I think is sick looking. I used to have an H3, like when they very first came out years ago, and it was fun. I mean, it was just a toy. But Garrett took issue with it. Weren't you calling it like gay or something? Or?
I said electric cars are pretty much useless, and there's no reason to own one.
Yeah, but then you called the Prius basically a Lamborghini.
I
So,
said,
I mean, it was
I
like,
didn't say the Prius is basically a Lamborghini. I said they're going for that look, and I kind of respect it.
yeah, and then I looked at it and went, fucking.
I just sent you
stupid
a
little
video on
Prius.
Instagram that you never looked at that shows exactly the video I was looking at that said it.
You just sent it to me?
No, this is a couple days ago.
Oh. Well, I'll have
That's
to go
all right.
look at it.
We'll do it later.
I've kind of been busy.
That's fine.
So, anyways, John pulled up. First off, Travis pulled up in one of the dopest cars I've ever seen in my life.
Oh,
And
that Beamer?
I don't even say anymore. I don't want to say anything. I don't know if he wants anyone to
That's
know.
all
That's
He was
it.
trying to overshadow.
You
the
just
whole-
say all I'm saying is Beamer. That's it. I'll let them do what they want
It's
with it.
literally one of the sexiest cars I've ever seen in my life. It's like,
Eh.
oh, dude, I've seen that car on the road and I've gone like, wow,
It's
that
kind
is
of like a Pontiac Aztec.
sick, dude. Yeah, except it's a fucking M series.
Yeah, sure, it's an
BMW.
M series Beamer,
It's
but it kind
sick.
of looks like an Aztec.
Yeah, except it doesn't at all. Shut up. Yeah, and it's fucking 50 times as expensive
Oh,
and
100%.
as luxurious.
It is a cool
Trust me.
car.
It's dope. And then right behind that, I look like a real fucking adult, like with
Oh, how do you
loads
think I
of money
feel?
right now. Yeah, exactly.
I got a rusted out little front plate falling off, little Ford Focus.
piece of shit. I've got a fucking stupid Explorer out there, and,
it's a nice
and I've got
Explorer.
this sick ass BMW and this disgustingly cool fucking. Travis just heard it. Yeah. Feel free to come down here and slap him around, Travis. And then this Hummer shows up, and I've never been in one. That is really cool. I'll get your comments on it in a second. But I drove it. We took it down through like downtown Franklin area and then onto Scenic, which is kind of wide streets where all the mansions are.
We did the
And-
scenic thing too.
Did you? Yeah.
Yep.
And you threw it in what the fuck mode or whatever they call it. What do they call it?
Watts to freedom.
Watts to freedom
It's the
mode.
politically correct way of saying what the fuck.
And it is what the fuck mode. And you have to like go through this whole system of like keep the left
Yep.
foot on the brake,
Charge it.
charge it, floor, and this thing. I mean, Trav was in the back seat, John was riding shotgun, and I was driving, and I'm like, I'm gonna kill these guys because I know I've seen videos of people like 0 to 60 in 1 second, and you're like, and Trav just goes, "This is a roller coaster," and it's a roller coaster. It's crazy, but even cooler was the fucking crab walk.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
fun.
That was cool.
so cool, so cool.
I drove through a neighborhood with the crab walk, just getting the turns on it. It's fun.
I thought it was very fun. Is there anything you want to say about that vehicle? Defend it in any way? Because you had that one as like a company car for like a year, I think.
Yeah, I had it for a year. It was a sad day when I had to turn it in.
Yeah.
And my wife cried. I cried. I think my kids were a little upset, but I asked for it for any vehicle, any of the Hummers, and he gave me my old one back, and it was like a nice
to come
reunion.
in here and do this.
Yeah.
That's
so it was a
very
nice little
cool.
reunion with it. So
Yeah.
it's been my favorite vehicle that I've had so far.
Yeah.
It is just that awesome. And it was hard to say goodbye.
Yeah.
It'll be hard to say goodbye tomorrow with it too. So
Really?
I got to turn it back in.
Yeah, it's weird. Like it was in the driveway, and I'm gonna drive it, and it's a push button start, and I push it to start, and I'm just so programmed.
You're waiting for the
30
start.
years. I'm waiting for the and the engine fire up. No, there's nothing, and
They
I
didn't
just
give you a
assumed
beep.
I didn't turn it on, and so I turned it on again, which turned it off, and he was like, "No, you were on already." I'm like, "Okay, this is."
It's a different feel when you get in that thing and you do it for the first time. It's things you're not used to. After a year of that thing, I had grown so used to everything in it, where
Yeah.
to find chargers, how to find chargers.
Yeah.
I've had no issue with it. I know a couple coworkers have gotten electric vehicles that they're struggling with.
Yeah.
Well,
if you were in California, this is nothing. Like literally a third of the cars on the road are, and everywhere you go, every parking lot has a shit ton of charging things, like everywhere. So, but out here, it's like, yeah, they might have a row of charging things at the mall.
Yeah.
But it's, the old adage of when, you never notice a store that sells mattresses until you're looking for mattresses.
Yeah.
And then you realize they're on every, they're
Every corner.
block, every corner. Maybe it's like that with charging stations.
Yeah.
Where you guys know where they all are and there's way more.
I've never really had an issue with that because I charge at home all the time. I had a charger at home. I'd have it charged up every morning. In the email I said, it's basically, I've maybe charged at a public charger 5-10 times, somewhere around there. That's it in the year that I used it.
Yeah.
So if you're local, you can easily go EV.
Yeah.
If you're not going far or anything, and it's so much cheaper than gas.
Well, I think we all have this tendency for things that are new or unfamiliar to us to try to shoot holes in them, right? Like, well, what if I have to go on a 4,000-mile trip? Now what, genius? And it's like, how often
Can't
do you
really
do
do
that
that in a gas car
What-
either, though.
No, you can't. And
not filling up.
and the reality is, how often do you do it? Is that you talking about the once every 2 years summer trip you take with the family across country? Like, honestly, in your day-to-day existence, you don't that's what you do. You rarely drive 300 miles in a day. Rarely.
Last family trip we did, we drove to the airport and then flew to Arizona. So I didn't even need a gas car.
Yeah. Can that thing sit for a week at a parking spot in an airport?
Come back, it'd be at 80%. You come back from your trip, it'll be at 80%.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. So what did you think, dude? Because I believe the quote from John was, "I'm going to try to ungay Garrett with this," and it was
Good
like,
luck.
no, he's still going to love cock, but he might have a
put it like
better
this.
attitude.
I still like dick.
Yeah.
But that was a pretty enjoyable car.
Yeah. Do you feel like a dickhead and a douchebag for your comments previously?
No, I still don't. I still stand by what I said because I didn't say anything that was like it's an awful car. Nobody should ever buy them. I said things like they're impractical and more of a toy, more of a sidecar. It's not. It shouldn't be your main. It's not very utility.
And I know rich people that do that
exactly.
have the toy Tesla and stuff.
Exactly.
Like that totally makes sense.
It's very nice.
Is it practical as a family? Like, this is just my car? Because most people, or I don't know.
2 cars. Most families are 2 cars. My wife has a gas vehicle, but I told her next one might be an electric vehicle.
Yeah.
Because it's cheaper. She doesn't go anywhere other than taking kids to school and back. That's it. And then normally I get a company car that I can take or trade for something bigger or with gas. So and having a Hummer was like the wild card. Hey, well, you got an SUV. Can I borrow that? I have a Hummer here, and people think they're pretty cool, so they'll swap out.
Yeah. And you know what? I don't know what that goes for. 100.
That's 115.
Yeah,
That's 115.
115. I was going to say the comment coming in from my dad, who's pretty good with cars, is 140, which I'm assuming is high end.
There is a step up.
Is there? My dad was coming in with $140,000.
His dad is saying that.
Yeah,
Just
they're
around
not,
that or no?
No, they're
Okay.
that one's 115. I think the max I think we sell is a 118.
Okay.
120.
Now, what does that one do?
That does the same. It's just got some different options on it. Like I was telling you earlier, it's got
Like the rims are fancier, dumb shit.
It's got the 24-inch rims on it, so it's got the on. There's different versions. There's an on-road one. That's that one, which is basically your street cruiser. And then there's the off-road one, which has the 18-inch wheels with the big bubbly tires for you to go off-roading.
Yeah.
And an EV. That's interesting.
It's actually pretty good because you can really control each wheel to a T.
Yeah.
And go places. They did a lot of testing with that out in the deserts, doing where people do rock crawling and all that. So
like the Jeeps, like those
exactly.
camps the Jeep people go to. Yeah.
So they were doing those types of things and performing some severe climbs and all that, going through some pretty tight areas. There was a nice YouTube video on called, I believe it was EV Evolution or no, it was Revolution. It was Revolution on YouTube. You can see it. It's the whole development of the Hummer.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool.
And let's be clear, you're not some pussified girly man.
No, I've got a race car.
You're a race car guy. You're build a house from the ground up guy. You're no bullshit.
Yeah.
You're a dude's dude.
I just bought a 1987 IROC this weekend.
I saw that.
For some fun for the family this
Did
weekend.
you see my neighbors? What is that? That teal? I think it's
I didn't
a piece
see
of
that.
shit.
What
But
do they
it looks like it's either a Camaro or what are they? Camaro RS or
Oh, was yeah, there's probably an RS.
like does that make sense? It might be a convertible, or if they made soft top that's not a convertible. I don't know. I think it's a convertible, but it looks like that year, like 87.
Oh yeah, they had convertibles in those from 83, I think, on through 92.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. But I've always looked at it like, oh god, look at this piece of shit. But dude, they're like cool now. Like
They are.
I love
The
80s
prices
cars.
of those are going through the roof. So I tried to get on the bandwagon before I was completely outpriced.
I remember my dad inherited from a buddy of his that passed away his Ford Ranger from like the 80s or
those are
early
nice.
90s. And
That's a hot.
insane.
You can build some drag
Thousands
race cars
and
out of those.
thousands and thousands of dollars, the value of that. This piece of shit, I would have said, I don't know, it runs, it'll give you $800 for it, $1,000, $1,500. It's like, no, dude. Thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
For these things. Like,
There's a lot of vehicles like that now from my time when I was younger that are just people are clamoring for. pickups.
Why
are
were they
huge.
so well?
I'll put it like
done
this.
then?
It's kind of like what I was saying to him with the EV. It's like you cannot work on a modern car, but you can buy an 80s car and do whatever the fuck you want. You can
Sure,
take the engine out of
yeah.
that, put a whole new engine in it if you
But
want.
I thought the knock was for those, like if you got a Mustang GT in '85 or something, it wasn't well built. It wasn't like top of the line. Like, you know, you go back to and buy. I don't know. I mean, I'm so out of school here because I don't know shit. But I just thought there were certain years where it's like, yeah, this is American metal or muscle manufacturing at its finest. And I don't know if that's the 60s Mustangs or Camaros where it's like, yeah, it makes sense. It's like guitars. You get a 68 or a 59 Gibson and you're going to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for it. There's certain years they're like, yeah, dude. And I just would have thought like the IROC 87 IROC would be like,
one of those.
it's not super sought after.
It's pretty lame as far as performance wise. It has a whole 225 horsepower.
Right.
I did get the one with the bigger engine that was offered, but
yeah.
I just
what is
like
that,
the look of them.
3 liter, 4 liter?
No, 5.7 liter, the
Oh, okay.
350 versus the 5 liter, which was the 305. It only had like 190 horsepower, where the IROC 5.7 has about 225 horsepower, which is like a 4-cylinder today.
Yeah.
I believe. So
Yeah.
I just like the looks of them.
Sure.
Yeah, I've always wanted one when they came out in '85, and
Couldn't afford it then as a kid.
no, still I could barely afford it now. So
It's probably more expensive now than it ever was back then.
I almost paid sticker for it. So
Oh, really?
Yep.
Wow. Yeah, it's nuts, but you know, nostalgia is no bullshit.
Not
It
just
just
that.
it's whether it's your music, whatever music you grew up listening to, you'll love forever.
You've got your pinball machines, isn't that sort of
Sure.
your something taking
Well,
you back?
Not as much as music.
Okay, yeah.
You know, pinball, I love pinball. I like it, but I didn't grow up with like I didn't care what machines I was playing. I know some people like Funhouse. That's my jam. I
Yeah.
have a T2.
I only
like,
play Stern.
Yeah, Stern, exactly. Mine was T2 and Terminator 2 and Addams Family were like that. If there's any nostalgia for pinball for me, it's those two games. And I don't know if they'd hold up. Maybe they would. Maybe.
No, I get it. I really just today I was buying PS1 games from like 1999 on.
Yeah.
Because they're just it's a simpler time where things were a lot easier to get into and work on. Like nowadays, if I want to play a video game, I got to boot up a PC, I got to download it, make sure it's all updated, get through the microtransaction screens, and then I can play my game.
Yeah.
I love the PS1 right now that Maria and I have because I could just
Is
pop,
that the gray one? Gray
Yep,
box?
that little
Yeah.
shitty gray box.
Yeah.
I could just pop a disc in there, close that bitch, and it's good.
Yeah.
I
It
can
takes
sit
20
there and
minutes to find
just
it boot
hours I
up,
can enjoy it.
but-
No, it doesn't.
No?
It starts right up.
Really?
Yep. This thing
Yeah.
is perfect, and that's what I like about the older cars. And I think what we were just saying with that, it's like you can do whatever you want to those old cars and stuff, and you can kind of get into them. And just the engines were a lot simpler back then. You didn't have to worry about
Yeah.
fucking up a computer system if you change out your, a couple
This
distance
doesn't
stuff.
agree
Yeah.
with that. And
Yeah.
Now I've got to get this, and it's really bad today.
It's got to be kind of kid in a candy store when it's like, we all know that feeling because most of us, and I'm assuming you too, drove absolute piles of shit when we were 16 years old, 17 years old, 18 years old. Not all of us, but it's like, we used to joke about the absolute piece of garbage Escort I had before.
Speak for yourself.
I got an Escort GT and that was awesome. Fucking 5-speed. I loved that.
It was probably
but-
new though, right? Wasn't it? Or fairly new?
couple years old, but I had some other ones that was like an 86 Escort, like garbage, absolute garbage on wheels. And so if there was I would have killed for an IROC or a Trans Am with a bird on the front. Killed for that at the time, or a Mustang GT. Are you kidding me? Then when you make some money and you can afford to get one of those and like trick it out a little bit or soup it up how you'd really want it, I see the appeal in that.
I feel like recently a lot of people are going for doing those things that when they were younger. I think the pandemic kind of had people
sure.
take
Open
a
up some
step
hobbies.
back and go, I'd really like to do this again. I did that when I was younger, and that's kind of where I was looking at,
Yeah.
It's been how long? I got some money. Let me
Yeah.
go have some fun.
Yeah.
I got another Camaro in my barn that needs to be redone. My wife was nagging me about that, and I'm like, that needs a lot of work. I want something I can drive right now.
Yeah.
So
Are you
when
going to do
I'm
work
get-
on this one?
It needs a little work. It needs a little engine work. I'm probably going to change the injectors in it. Those are bad. And then the transmission needs a little adjusting. But
Did you get a stick or an automatic?
the 350 did not come with the stick. It was never offered in that year.
Really?
So
That seems criminal.
I know 225 horsepower was too much for the transmissions back then. So
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for bringing the Hummer Electric
EV.
over. That was really cool for me. I've driven in only not that many now, just 2 or 3 electric vehicles. You know that people are, that was the first one
my
I've
first.
driven though.
That was my first EV.
That you
full
drove?
EV. I've done hybrids. That was the first time I've ever driven like an EV myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I've been in a Tesla, but not one of the big dog Teslas.
oh, the plaid ones.
Yeah,
the
those
plaid,
it's $100 grand.
mode. Yeah, I think they're
0 to
all
60 and go
around.
fuck yourself.
Yeah, that that would be cool. They're all fast as hell. They're all, but that plaid mode, I'd love to check out. That's a mode, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's a
It's a
Is that a
trim.
model?
Yeah,
Yeah,
There's
it's a
the Model
model.
S plaid.
Model
but
S
it's like a
plaid.
feature on the plaid that lets it go in the plaid mode.
Oh, okay.
So
is that what that
it's
is
a
that how
name
that works?
and it's a mode on the car.
Okay. Yeah. It's cool. And
But
I
I-
saw, and actually just yesterday I saw my very first Cybertruck. on
I
the
did
road.
too.
Did you really?
Not yesterday, last week I saw my first Cybertruck. I hate them.
Yeah, they're
fucking hate 'em.
ugly, but I hear they're cool. I don't know.
I don't care. I hate them.
Have you been in one yet?
No, I've seen them, but the shape doesn't do it,
It
for
doesn't
me.
do it.
It
You know what?
looks like a car trying to be a
And that's the weirdest part too. is
Truck,
not just car
yeah.
truck. It was way bigger than I expected. I was like, why
Yeah.
is this thing like it's the size a little bit? I was just driving up next to it. It seemed like it was like an F-150 size or something. I expected them to be way smaller than that.
Really?
I don't know why. Just every time I saw them or people standing.
F-150 is not that big.
It's
though.
not that big, but it's like bigger than I expected a Cybertruck. I thought they were just making like a little EV kind of like.
Oh, I thought
with
it was
that
gonna be
covered back. I thought it was
huge.
gonna be more SUV shaped.
Really?
Oh, I was totally off.
Yeah, it looked pretty big when it drove by, but all silver. It's got kind of a
stainless steel. It's
Yeah.
all
Stainless,
stainless steel.
yeah.
It rusts.
yeah. I don't know. That's the first one I've even seen though. Not that I leave the house that often, but so even the first one I've seen out here. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know I can't really get behind it, personally. But
I will say the Watts the Freedom mode is cool as hell. I don't see a practical use for it.
No, it's-
it's more of a fuck like piss your friend off real quick. Like if you got a woman in the car who's just nagging you, it's like, all right, we're going what the fuck mode. Hold on.
yeah, no, it's cool to show off.
Yeah.
It is cool.
It's cool to show off,
And that was fucking
no
cool.
doubt
As
about it.
soon
And
as that torque went up-
for rich people having a toy like that, totally get it.
Well, that's
totally get it.
that's
I
like
get it.
any sports car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not going to go out racing on the streets.
Exactly.
right.
So it's a quick. Let's do a quick jump here, jump there, go around the corner real quick
Yeah.
or something. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Same with that thing. It's
And
no
that
different.
thing handles amazing. The steering radius is crazy because I know a lot of people, myself sort of included, that getting a big SUV or truck into a parking spot at a busy mall is tough. It just is, and it gets easier the more you do it. Obviously, I imagine parking that thing would be a breeze.
It is. You just whip it right in.
Yeah.
You don't need to think about it too much. It's
Yeah.
just it acts like it's a small car.
Yeah.
That was the most surprising thing.
cool.
Is even these tiny little roads here, just kind of weaving through them. It's like this just goes. I don't worry about it. I'm not
Yeah.
worried about where my tail is. It's like you kind of just turn the wheel, everything turns with it, and it's very smooth.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like I'm driving a big truck.
Yeah.
No.
So are
No,
you
my-
sold? Will you get one, Garrett?
I can't afford one.
Well, let's say money was no object.
if money was no object,
Toy?
I would get one as a second car.
As a toy. Yeah. Okay.
I'll put it there.
Fair enough. John, thank you so much for coming by.
Yep.
Hank, feel free to hang out and watch us. I'll turn your mic off, so don't worry about it.
Unless you got more to say.
What's that?
He said.
Oh,
cut
did you
him
have
off.
more to say? Yeah. Come on.
No, he's good. He's good.
No, you're fine.
I was just going to say, hopefully this wasn't just radio for one here or radio for three.
Oh, we
I
got
didn't
people
want to turn
chatting.
it into that, by bringing it by. It's just,
Actually, funny enough, my dad's
No.
just been yelling anti-EV stuff in the comments, so you're good.
That's fine.
There are
of
listeners.
course, yeah,
Dude,
typical.
That the battle will rage, but if you're open-minded to anything, I think hey, look, it might not be there yet. It might be easy
Yeah.
to shit on, but it's like, dude, that stuff's
It's
coming.
cool.
They're gonna
but
get there.
Second car cool for me.
Yes,
It's the same reason,
exactly.
we were
Yeah.
talking about, you
For
bought your,
now. Wait 10
like,
wait
you
5
talked about like
years.
his IROC. That's how I would treat a Hummer EV for me. It'd be like something I kind of keep in the garage until there's a nice day and I can kind of go around for a spin and have some fun with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I think it's inevitable that it's coming.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happens because being a gearhead is a real thing, and that's not to be discounted or just like, yeah, whatever, deal with it. Like those people that love old cars and working on cars and those people are a lot.
Yeah.
They're a lot, and they're not just going to go quietly away. So
Well, it's kind of like drum machines in your music. You went from
yeah,
everyone has to play drums. Now you can just program a little machine. You
Yeah.
can do things nobody else can do, and that's what
drummers
it
are
feels like.
horribly offended.
Exactly,
by.
and that's what the electric dude. I used to have one of those drum machines have no souls right on the front of my bass drum for all time.
Yeah.
And that's one of those things. It's like it's just the new iteration coming in. It's still a little new and scary, and there's room for drummers nowadays. There's bands that need drummers, but
my problem was the sound of them.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're gonna be honest, but nowadays with electronic,
You can't
kits,
even tell.
they're incredible. They can sound like any kit you want. They've come a long way, but you had to start somewhere.
and it's kind of like the
You had
EV
to
of the
start
drum
with
world.
the-
So that's kind of where I kind of compare it. 'Cause
Yeah.
now I have an electric drum kit at home, and I see all the benefits of being able to play quietly, record straight to my computer without mics.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
I see all the benefits, and I kind of see where that's coming in with the EVs and that Hummer right there. But I'm still not 100%. So like, I'd still love to sit down on an acoustic kit. You can't do like a live show with just electric.
Yeah, for sure. All right, John. Thank you, buddy. All right. I finally watched over the weekend the debate. I knew it was coming up, that Chris Cuomo, Dave Smith debate.
Yeah.
Patrick Bet David had put that together with his podcast. I guess he had hired Chris Cuomo, and Chris Cuomo's an interesting one because he was like I used to like him. I used to think he was, I think he's a lawyer. And I used to think early in his career in CNN, he was more fair than a lot of them. He seemed more common sensey.
Yeah.
And now you go, oh, like that dude jumped into the fray as like the face of mandates, the face of vaccines, the face of Dr. Fauci. And he had the #1 show on CNN at the time, more so than Don Lemon or, Anderson Cooper. And so this country turned on itself at that point, and the shaming that went on to normal Americans that had questions, rightly so, about this stuff was incredible.
Yeah.
Was incredible. And that dude pulled no punches. And, as time has gone on, we're 4 years out now. Was that 2020? COVID, 2019,
Yep.
like November,
It was
December,
2020.
January, but
I think
2020
was the big cutoff where everything
and like
started.
April, May
Yeah.
of 2020 was where it was like, oh God, we're gonna lock down for 2 weeks to stop the
2
spread.
weeks.
2 weeks to stop the spread. That
It's
bullshit.
2 years later.
And then we're 4 years on from that, and the decisions they made at the time were shit, horrible, destructive, destroyed millions of people's lives across the country. We won't even know the catastrophic effects to children for you're a good 10 years easily away from knowing
Yeah.
what that effect really was. So, people that try to give you numbers now or, oh, yeah, it did this much damage. Like, no, dude, you have no fucking idea what the final damage is to those kids or what it did to this country. And the amount of people, if you think on a smaller level, the amount of people that saw no way out but fucking eating a bullet because their whole world was turned upside down and put in this impossible situation of forced being vaxxed or lose your career. Tens of thousands of nurses in New York alone blown out, military members blown out. And you can look deeper at that and go, well, if you're trying out, if you want to go, kind of full tinfoil hat, and but they open up that Pandora's box. I'm sorry, they just did. But if you want to go, well, if you want a fucking a military that is not that is nothing but compliant, will do whatever you say. Weed out the ones that will give you any pushback on anything. Just weed those fuckers out. And how do you weed them out? Well, force a mandate on them, like a vax mandate, and then blow out the ones that refuse to do it. And so, I think it means something when SEAL team members go, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not taking that. I'm one of the healthiest people on planet Earth.
Yeah, a
in
SEAL
my
team member.
20s. Why the fuck would I take your stupid vax? And then years go by, time goes on. You see the destruction, the divisiveness, the trauma that this caused to this country. The division alone is inexcusable. And one of the most frustrating parts of that is you know for a fact And what's so irritating to people like us, just little guys going about our business, none of us in this room have a fucking $50 million in the back. I don't think. Maybe you do, John. I don't know.
No.
But even if you did, we're just hey, I go to work. I'm worried about my family. I'm doing my thing. Leave me alone. Stay out of my way.
Huge majority.
Vast majority. For us, and if you're being honest, no one will be held accountable for this. No, Dr. Fauci's never going to prison. Dr. Fauci, these people aren't even going to be grilled. You could have these comedy trials, these gotcha trials that they have. Oh, he's being grilled by Congress today. And, this comes out and we all peck it apart. But there's no accountability for that. What you'll never get is Dr. Fauci. Because can you imagine if Dr. Fauci came and sat down right here and we had a discussion about this stuff and went, wait a minute, hold on, before you go any further. No. What you just said is crazy. And grill him on it.
Yeah.
Really grill him on it. Really get down in the weeds on some of this stuff. Like, what were you thinking? Why would you do this? Because no one in your mainstream puke garbage media is going to do that. None of them. None of them have done it. None of them will do it. And the second any of them got out of line, they were hammered for it. So you really have to be so comfortable in your own skin in a business that breeds uncomfortability. That these are insecure people by nature. Trust me, I know that they're not the most.
Well, their whole job kind of depends on your opinion.
Right. Exact. That's a great way to put it. It does. And so these people, they want to be loved by people. I get that feeling. I know that feeling. I don't want people to not like me. You want people to, see where you're coming from, get your, agree with you on some level, and disagreement is kind of par for the course. But these people that push back at all and went, boy, just common sense wise, that doesn't make sense. We know historically natural immunity has always been like the shit.
Yeah.
And then whatever glamour, whatever man-made thing you'd love to replicate what natural immunity, what nature does on its own. You'd love to be able to get there, but you won't. You won't get there, but we could try to get close. And so when you have people going, well, no, I'm not getting the vaccine because I already had it. So I have the natural immunity.
Yeah.
That should have been, and historically that would be enough to go, oh yeah, well duh, that would be
cool,
ridiculous to throw that on top of there. But it was like, no, it was like, which team are you on? Do you want to kill grandma? Do you want to kill children? As if any children at all died from COVID. Don't give me that. The closest they came is a kid in a car accident with COVID.
I was going to say, I think a lot more died of the heart complications after getting the vaccine.
I would agree. I don't know that I would say that as like fact, but you're probably right.
I'm not saying fact.
Honestly.
Just half or half. I don't know which one was more.
Yeah. Do you remember the days when they would literally shut your fucking YouTube channel off if you said anything negative about the vaccine or dared to even speculate that ivermectin, or the lab leak.
Yep.
Like
the
some of
confirmed.
us, some of us haven't forgotten that, and was so unacceptable. So this debate, I would recommend all of you go listen to it. It's probably not smart for me to have you go and listen into other shows because you might love them more than us and you just leave. But Dave Smith is, here's a guy who's one of us. He's one of us, okay? He's a stand-up comic. He's one of the hosts of Legion of Skanks, which is billed as the most offensive podcast in the world, okay? The most offensive. So like, this is someone the elites would look at and just dismiss on its face. Dave Smith is way more like all of you listening than any elite could ever be. Dave Smith doesn't have any business being on a panel with the Chris Coomers of the world
Yeah.
and the political elites of the world and the media elites of the world. And so you're never going to get that opportunity to have that real sit down, know where to run, know where to go, filibuster all you want. We got fucking 3.5 hours, pal. Filibuster all you want. we'll come back to this and nail you down,
Yep.
which is exactly what happened. And Chris Cuomo got his fucking ass handed to him.
He thought they wouldn't be able to bring up receipts, dude. He's got a team behind him. Just, oh yeah, you want that video? Here's this video. Here's this article. Here's this video. It was great to watch.
And it's the gaslighting is like, yes, you did shame Joe Rogan when for ivermectin. Yes, you no, I didn't. And you're like, what? In what fucking world? Like, are you shitting me right now? I know I turned the stove off. What do you mean the gas is on? No, dude, you absolutely did. And to be able in real time to pull that up and be like, boom, here's where you did. And then it's like, out of context. They love doing that. Out of context. Out of context applies to a lot of things. But no, dude, that's the definition of in context. No one screams context matters more than me. And anybody that's listened to this show for any length of time knows that just the words by themselves don't matter. I hate black people is something I would never say. But if you take that clip and you just cut out Mike Walters screaming, I hate black people.
You made it really easy.
Right?
There's a drop coming.
Dude, I've said it 1,000 times to make this point.
I know.
The point is context. The context of that matters. If you go, well, we want to shut this voice down. Look what he said about black people. And you play that, it's like, no. Context does matter. To these people, it doesn't. Well, when Chris Cuomo is screaming, well, that's out of context. No, dude. If this was just clipped shit to make you look bad, trust me, we would know. We would see through it, and I would agree with you. That's not what he said. That's not what he said, but that is what you did. We watched you night after night, out after night. I don't care what you say now, Chris Cuomo. I don't care how you feel now. I don't care if you've been red-pilled or whatever you want to call it. No, irrelevant. We all watched with our own eyes you shame half the country. You slandered half the country. You drove them into being second-class citizens, period. I got the vaccine because I felt tremendous pressure, and I feel like a total pussy for it. And that doesn't mean the vax doesn't work. It doesn't mean the vax wasn't right for me as someone with many comorbidities, right? With type 2 diabetes, smoker, fat fuck. All of those things come into play. Old man, all of those come into play. And it's like, you know what? It probably is best for you to get the vax. Maybe. The fact is, I buckled to the people that I knew have been full of shit for so long that don't care about you, your family, your health, what's good for you, what's best for you, what's best for your children. They don't care. And they prove it time and time again. COVID, the one blessing in disguise is that facade is gone. It's gone. Gone are the days where you could pretend, even half-ass pretend, that these people actually give a shit about your well-being. No.
Well, that's the thing with the vaccine.
In their world, if they could be Thanos, they would eliminate half the population on the planet. They would. Not saying that Thanos isn't wrong. I mean, we could.
He had some points.
You know, I mean, people say what you want.
I'm not going to say he was right, but he did have some points.
When Thanos laid out his cards, I was like, well,
listen, even Hitler started the Autobahn. I mean, there were some points.
Don't compare Hitler with Thanos. Now, you know.
They kind of had a similar.
You know, they tried to make Thanos out to be the bad guy there. Thanos is the elites.
Yeah.
He would love to wipe out half the fucking population. Of course. The rich don't give a shit. The elites don't give a shit. So, do we have any clips from that? Were you able to find a couple
I was able to
clips?
find a video. It's supposed to be just kind of like that little area of debate. So I'll just play through it.
Yeah. But this is, don't discount how special this is. And I think it's commendable of Patrick Bet-David. It's commendable of Chris Cuomo to even be there. He doesn't need to be there.
Honestly, yeah.
Shocked that he was there. Dave Smith did a brilliant job in this. If you're not familiar with Patrick Bet-David, because I myself have been confused, he's huge, but Patrick Bet, B-E-T, David. If you just go to YouTube and search that, it'll pop up in like one of the top 2-3 videos is this debate. And it's 3 hours plus long of Dave Smith and Chris Cuomo. It's worth watching. It'll make your blood boil because Chris Cuomo never comes full circle and admits to anything. Sign, in my opinion, of a true sociopath that cannot just go, you know what, man? Yeah, I don't know what Kool-Aid I drank, but yeah, we fucked some things up. I got some things right. He just won't. He can't do it.
Yeah.
It's just sociopathic on every level. But Dave Smith tells him to his fucking face, and it's cool to watch. I haven't seen this video you've got here.
I kind of scrubbed through it, checked comments, make sure it was all relevant.
Okay, let's check it out.
You said they tried to make Fauci the boogeyman.
Yes.
Right. Brother, when 9/11 happened, the one thing that they did during 9/11, they made somebody else the enemy. We all came together.
Yes.
During COVID, they never made China the enemy. Pelosi went to Chinatown claiming how racist it was for what Trump did. And instead of making China the enemy, we made Trump the enemy. And America became divided, and that's what we have, the shit show that we have today. So when you're saying like now we want to make Fauci the enemy,
right?
I have a problem with that because look how wild.
Wait, those
it
are two
is.
different things. Explain it to me, Pat.
But it's not two different things.
How?
Because you just said, you said, instead of making China the boogeyman, we're making Fauci the boogeyman.
Yes.
Yes. In 2020 March, instead of making China the boogeyman, we made Trump the boogeyman. That's what you did. CNN did that.
No, no, that's not what I did.
So CNN didn't make Trump the boogeyman.
Trump has always been the boogeyman for most of the media.
Right, but
it wasn't about COVID.
Well,
I'm just telling you, it wasn't about COVID.
Well, he certainly was the boogeyman. Yes, he was the boogeyman far before COVID.
Sure.
When you guys were repeating mindlessly every day that there was some giant conspiracy with Trump and Russia and leading the entire country to believe that our election had been stolen by a hostile foreign power and that Vladimir Putin had, and once again, like we won't get out of you tonight, not one apology from anyone at CNN when it turns out there was zero evidence that that was true. And you could say we just guessed right, but all of us who were paying attention knew from the very beginning that this was totally made up. And of all the things you could say about Donald Trump,
how could you have known right from the very beginning that it was totally made up?
Because it was the most absurd claim ever. That when the CIA comes out and says Vladimir Putin has overthrown our elections and installed Donald Trump in there and presents zero evidence to back it up.
That's not the investigation. That's not the allegation.
Well, no, but it was what people on your former network said daily.
Listen,
it was what people on MSNBC said daily.
Not only have I never said that Russia put in Trump,
so
I've never had anyone on my show who said that.
Let's just be honest here for a second.
Go ahead.
Are you going to genuinely tell me that CNN and MSNBC did not every day for 3 years give the impression that Donald Trump was involved in a conspiracy with the Russians?
They absolutely covered the investigation into Donald Trump from a special prosecutor every day. MSNBC did it differently, I would argue, than CNN.
Why was that special prosecutor appointed?
Why was it appointed? Because the Attorney General thought he should be.
Here's why. And he admitted it himself on 60 Minutes, if any of you guys want to go back and listen to it. Andrew McCabe, the number 3 guy at the Justice Department, said, after Donald Trump fired Comey, these are his words, not mine. After he fired Comey, they decided to try to invoke the 25th Amendment to remove him on the grounds that he was unstable. And they realized they couldn't get enough of his cabinet to do it, so they settled on a special prosecutor. That's why. Not a single one of them thought he was a Russian spy. Let me tell you something. Carter Page, the one guy who got in trouble from the FBI, as I'm sure you guys both know. Why did he get in trouble? Because he lied to the FISA court. Because the CIA told the FBI that Carter Page was their guy. They knew he wasn't a Russian spy. The whole thing was complete nonsense just to frame Donald Trump so he couldn't get his agenda through. And CNN ran with it every single day. Unquestioning about the story itself.
I don't see it the same way.
Of course you don't.
I don't think it was about keeping Donald Trump from having an agenda. I do think there is a problem with prosecuting political opponents. And I do think that both of the parties engage in it. And I think it's another signal that the party system has to die. I agree with that. There is no world in which you can be skeptical to the extent that they're sharing information with you. But when you have a special prosecutor, right, or special counsel, whatever you want to call it, and they are doing an investigation, you're going to cover it. And you're going to look at the information that they're saying coming out. And of course, there's always copious leaks because there are politicians involved. And you're going to do it. Fox did it also. And they started doing it less and less as they believed that it wasn't working for their audience, which I understand the consideration. You can judge it any way you want. MSNBC, it was working very well. For CNN, it was more of a balance. But the idea...
More of a balance.
It was. Because, look, I had a
They're
show
laughing.
there.
The crowd's laughing.
And you
CNN ranged from Democrats who hate Donald Trump to Republicans who hate Donald Trump, and everything in between.
Look, they were one of the only people who put Republicans on the payroll to talk about Trump.
Which
You
Republicans?
certainly didn't get that
neocons.
at MSNBC. We had Santorum.
Santorum, right?
You don't like him either?
No.
He liked
Who
Trump.
likes Rick Santorum?
He liked Trump. Although they did come up with a terrible name for what is a Santorum.
I'm
That is
familiar.
terrible.
I'm
That was
familiar.
terrible that they did that to him, although he found it pretty funny. Anyway, the point is this.
Just very smug,
I will
dismissive.
defend CNN. And I know some people think that's strange because I got shit canned by CNN. I understand. I don't see it that way. I definitely got fired, but that
I need
doesn't
my
mean
job back.
I'm going to blame CNN. I'll defend it. However, it is not fair to make me own everything that CNN does because I
agree.
don't control anything but my show.
No one's
Okay,
doing
fair
that.
enough. So that's fair. I'm also being critical of CNN here, but I will say, disclaimer for the rest of the show, anything I criticize CNN, that's true. You don't own the entire network. You only own your portion of it. So let me ask you.
I couldn't
and
have
let's-
that much
but
power.
listen,
I got fired.
Fast
With that-
forward.
fair
'Cause
enough.
I don't give a shit. This
Yeah.
is going to get into him being in the basement, whether that was fake or real.
I
He's
gotcha.
got some roundabout explanation about why it was real, him coming up from the basement. Remember that when he had COVID, he had to quarantine.
Yeah.
Fast forward a little bit, see if you can get to a different part of it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you guys are enjoying this, but I think it's fantastic.
No, it's always interesting.
And it's very rewarding to have someone. You see him try to filibuster like, hey, like I'm a smooth talker, I'm a lawyer, I'm a politically connected family. I come from a politically connected family. He's doing all this and blah, blah, blah. And Dave Smith's like, bullshit. And calling him out on it, all those little things. And it's really hard to do what Dave Smith is doing there. Trying to interject when someone's filibustering like that, and they hit you with 4 or 5 things all at once, and you're like, by the time you think of what you want to say to combat point number 1 they made, they're on to point number 3. And you've missed point number 2, and it's very hard in the moment to follow along with that and stop someone and make them explain it. And I think Dave does a commendable job in a very tough situation in these debates. Go ahead, Jim.
I got a couple actual options.
Okay.
So lucky enough, there's a channel called Valuetainment that already broke up the podcast to every different bit that they were talking about. So every topic's been broken into a separate
Valuetainment
video.
is Patrick Bet-David's company.
So I got insulted from litigation, Pfizer's secret to banking millions. They think black people are dumb. The reason why Trump has 22% of the black vote. We just watched The Real or Fake.
What was the first one you said?
Insulted from litigation, Pfizer's secret to banking billions.
Insulted from...
And that's part of this same show.
Okay, keep going.
No problem. I
What
got we all make mistakes. Chris Cuomo's offered a chance to apologize. How about that one?
Yeah, let's hear his apology.
All right.
If you're seeing this video,
If I'm seeing this video, then we have an ad.
Yeah,
I'll let that go for a second while I get this sorted.
that's fine. His take on apologies. So, if this is the part in here, they want him to apologize, and there's a very nuanced answer to the apology thing, and I'll explain in a minute. But go ahead.
Yep. Give me 1 second. Let me get the volume up.
Yeah.
Listen to Chris. All I caught was one thing. I heard everything.
All
but
that? You only caught one
trust
thing?
me, it's just one thing. No, I'm telling. And by the way, you have to understand, it's only one thing I caught about this whole thing. What you want, you're not going to get. You said something. You said, in this world, if you apologize, they will never let it go, and they'll always come back. Look at Trump. He never apologizes. So what that makes me think about, you either are following Trump's lead, then you agree with what Trump does is right, so you want to be like Trump, to say, I want to, and I'm just, I'm telling you this as a brother, you're like, hey, that's what Trump said. Or on the other side, you're like, man, say if I go the other side and I say I messed up, then these guys are going to come after me for the rest of my life. If you go back and look at data on what happened with Joe when all the Planet of the Apes stuff that they came out, I don't know if you remember that when he came out with
Joe Rogan, the N-word.
Spotify,
Talking about the
Daniel
N-word.
Egg defended him. He came out and he made a video. I don't
He made
know
a
where the
Planet of the
video
Apes
was
joke.
by his co.
Yeah.
It was somewhere outside. He's just making a video and talking openly. And it's like, we shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have done this. You shouldn't have done this. You know what the world said? You know what? Freaking A, good for this guy for apologizing. Are you kidding me?
You're talking about the stuff in his comedy act?
Yeah. And
the racist stuff.
Well, I mean, all the stuff that they put
Racist.
together.
The
I
racist
listened to some of the stuff.
But that's what they made him apologize for.
Well, it's not about that's what they made him apologize for.
No one made him. He apologized for it,
But the point
You don't think that the money he was getting from that company came with them having leverage over what he apologized for and what he
Nope.
didn't?
No,
I
he
happen
didn't.
to have. I happen to know about
Okay.
this, and he's a good friend of mine. Joe Rogan is the boss of bosses. He could have done whatever he wanted to,
Okay.
and he apologized because he felt bad about it. Yeah, that's the truth.
So then if
Yeah,
what
he
you
doesn't
say-
believe that. I 100% believe that. Joe Rogan is somebody who absolutely has to apologize to no one, especially on behalf of anybody.
Yeah.
Nobody is going to tell Joe Rogan has enough money, and he's had it. Forget about the fact that he's on his second Spotify $200 million contract now.
Yeah, he's rolling in it.
Forget that $400 million. That dude has had fuck you and anybody that disagrees with him money since Fear Factor, when NBC was paying out retarded money for those contracts. Okay? That guy, when you want to talk about real money in entertainment, network television was where that money was in the 90s, the 2000s, mid 2000s. That was absurd money was on the networks. Cable shows that did well got paid, but there were plenty of meandering contracts that didn't pay shit tons of money. But if you had a show on ABC, NBC, yes, those paid literal fuck you money. So Rogan has had fuck you money for many, many, many years. Many. This is gravy on top. The whole what upwards of $400 million that he's gotten from Spotify now. So no, Spotify would not be in any position to demand Joe Rogan apologize. And in that instance, I think Joe was kind of wrong because, again, context matters.
Yep.
Had Joe Rogan been caught on tape saying, these goddamn lazy N-words, blah, 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 like that would be horrible. And if it's something that, you know, I said something stupid when I was 23 years old or 18 years old, and you know what, I feel really bad about it. I want to apologize. All those clips of Joe Rogan, if I'm not mistaken, saying the N-word were in the context of roundtables and podcasts with his buddies in the early days. And if you remember the early days of the Joe Rogan experience, like his sponsors were like vibrator companies and shit.
Yeah.
Like that, you know, like Fleshlight was a sponsor of his. You know, like these were very early podcast days with his rambunctious group of friends. There was a lot of quotes using the N-word. You know, when you're doing stuff, I've done that. You know, if you were to clip every time I've said nigga or stuff like that on this show, you could make a really ugly sounding tape and go, oh my God, this person's a racist. Chris Cuomo to just throw out there willy-nilly, like, oh, when he was saying racist stuff, it's like, grow up, asshole. I don't think there's a racist bone that exists in someone like Joe Rogan's body. I've listened and watched enough Joe Rogan to get a pretty good feel about someone's character, and at no point.
I actually have his transcript of his apology already.
Whose?
Joe Rogan's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
From that, what did he say?
He said,
And it was a video. He put out a video. I believe he's walking around his
it was
backyard.
an Instagram
It's just
video.
like selfie style.
I'm making this video to talk about the most regretful and shameful thing that I have ever had to talk about publicly. There's a video that's out. That's a compilation of me saying the N-word. It's a video made of clips of me out of context, 12 years conversations on my podcast. It's all smashed together. It looks fucking horrible. But he says, now I know that most people out there, there's no context when there's a white person, there's no context where a white person is ever allowed to say that word, never mind publicly on a podcast. And I agree with all.
It's his call to make. That's his apology to make. If he feels bad about that,
He came back and he said, I don't think white people should say in any context. I disagree with him, but
I do too. You know, but it is a big gotcha game. Now in this, and we don't need to watch 14 minutes here to get it, but Chris Cuomo says something along those lines like, hey, I'm not going to apologize. Nobody cares about apologies anyways. Donald Trump never apologizes. And I understand the sentiment behind that. And I'll tell you something else. I think Trump's wrong in that case. Yeah. I think when someone wants you, then this is where the nuance I was talking about comes in. When someone demands an apology from you for something that And you just know they don't really mean it. They don't really need that apology. They just want it's just
you to
get on
grovel.
your knees.
Yeah.
You on your knees. Kiss the ring. It's one of the kiss the ring moments is what they're looking for. And if they can get it on video, even better. There was some disgusting videos during the Black Lives Matter stuff when that black guy had that white girl get on her knees and kiss his
cops.
feet.
They had cops get on their knees for him.
No. I mean, like, get on your. Then this woman like gets on her knees, and it was just because he could. This black kid, and he's being an asshole, and he wanted her to get on his knees and like. For all the injustice that's happened to blacks through the centuries. Like, this poor idiot on the spot white millennial is now going to bend down and kiss the ring.
Yeah, but she would do that anyways. It's one of those types of people.
Probably.
I feel like if you're at a Black Lives Matter protest,
but it was like,
you're willing to do some crazy shit.
Sure. And it was like, well, let's see how far we can push this.
Oh, yeah.
And so for Trump, they constantly, will you say that, Hitler was wrong? Will you say that? It's like, yeah, we all agree Hitler was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, why do you want me on record with all this groveling bullshit? And so Trump just kind of has a policy of not apologizing. Now, if Trump's done something wrong and believes it, and it comes out and you go, fuck, man, you know what? I am sorry for that. I think there's a big difference in that, and I think people see through that shit. I think there's nothing wrong. I would have no problem, and I would hope people that have listened for years, that like me on any level, would have a little bit of respect and go, yeah, man, okay, I get it. There's probably things that I've done over the years that you go, yeah, looking back on that, man, that was a pretty shitty thing to do. I was more immature then. I certainly wouldn't handle it that way. And you know what? Yeah, I have no problem apologizing. If it's genuine, if you mean it, I have no interest in like, yeah, you pried an apology out of someone by force because you could, because they feared what kind of repercussions you would give on them. And those apologies never work. Those apologies are built on fraud. They're not sincere. They never have been. They never will be, and which is why they're never accepted on their face, which is why you go, okay, did you really think Adidas's plan was to have a racist marketing campaign? And now they come out with some groveling apology to everybody. And, well, your intent was never that. What are you apologizing for? Just because this pussy interpreted it differently or wrong? That now you need to have some groveling apology and you're going to do better in the future. Like, we all see through that shit. We all know that's garbage. Anyways.
100%.
Fauci has been being grilled, and it'd be nice. We can watch some more of this in a minute, but it would be nice to see someone like Fauci, which you'll never do. This is the closest you're ever going to get. Right here is the closest you're ever going to get to one of those people that was, these elitist monsters that were all for mandates, forced vaccinations, lockdowns, shutting down businesses, preventing you from going to school or church. All that stuff, the closest you will ever get to them being held to any sort of account to where you can go, thank God someone was able to say it to him, was that right there, Dave Smith.
Yep.
With Chris Cuomo. Fauci will never do that. None of the other elected officials, none of the governors that were running shit and locking down their states, none of them will ever be grilled about this stuff as they should. Unfortunately, and Fauci is one that we would all love to see Fauci, sit down in a natural setting with someone who can call him out on bullshit, isn't afraid to say whatever to him and tell him no and push back a little bit, which no one else will do. So, and this is the kind of shit. Fauci's being grilled by Congress. And they were talking about the 6 feet social distancing.
Yeah.
Which has come under a lot of fire. Like, why 6 feet? Why not 10 feet?
It was bullshit
why
from
not
the
7
start.
feet?
The
Why
moment
not
they said
3
6 feet, I'm like, dude, I can sneeze further than that. What the fuck?
Well, Fauci has come out and said that was it sort of just appeared. It sort of just appeared that he didn't come up with it because someone, I think it was Marjorie Taylor Greene in Congress, was grilling him about this and said, you just made this up. You made this up.
Yeah.
About, about 6 feet social distance. And he said, I never made anything up. I never said I made it up. And I swear to you, his response, she said, then what did you say? And he said, it wasn't rooted in science, and it just sort of appeared. What?
Then why'd you tell us?
How is that not made up out of whole cloth then?
Dude, there's still stickers on the bottom like every store
Of every store you walk into.
Arrows for
Yep.
aisleways?
Yeah.
Arrows for aisleways.
Dude, it's John, even John's getting heated. He's talking
It's
into
all still there.
Microphone that's not turned. Dude, yeah, think about it. Think about this. The
didn't just come
sneeze
up.
shields and the stupid shit everywhere you go still.
He's acting like it was one of those things that just kind of like popped up and some people were doing it and then it went away a little bit, didn't work.
And he said that. And I'm quoting now, she said, you made it up, the 6 feet. And he said, he takes great offense. I never made it up. I never said that. I never made it up. And she said, what did you say? And his quote was, it was not rooted in science. It sort of just appeared. And it's like, well, you're head of the NIH,
You're the one who kind of writes the book on this.
And then it was like, the CDC came up with that. And it's like, okay, well, you're basically in charge of all those, sort of.
Yeah.
They're all hand in glove, man. You don't just get to wash yourself with that. And when I saw that today, I was thinking, I swear to God, the 6 feet of distance never made sense. It never made sense to anybody. They've stuck by that for years, by the way. Hence what you guys are talking about, the fucking stupid discs in every store on the floors, the arrows of where people should stand. What the hell just happened there?
I don't know.
Did someone that wasn't you?
No.
Yeah, you're just sitting there. I fear Travis did something. Trav, did you do something up there?
No.
He's
all the way back.
He's fucking with some of this stuff here, but I don't think he's connected
I don't know.
to this. I don't know.
We're still live, so.
Yeah, good. But yeah, I shouldn't be yelling anyways. I can't get
That's
worked
all
up. It's not based in science. It's not based in science. It sort of came out of nowhere. And so I was like, I think that fucking thing originally came up in the 1800s. I'm pretty sure that literally goes back to fucking the 1800s. And so I Googled it. And that is the original basis for that shit. Why do we say proper social distance today is 6 feet? Why not 7, 10, maybe 4? Where did 6 feet come from? In 1897, a German scientist named Karl Fluge wrote a book called Über Luftinfektion.
Überluftinfektion.
Yeah. Over-the-air infections, for those of you that don't speak German. Gedämmermuskel is the extent of the German I speak.
Yeah. I just know you have to be angry.
Yeah. If he thought if you kept enough physical distance between people who are sick and those who are well, you can prevent the spread of germs. It was simply a theory, one that scientists tried to test out using glass plates, and then he just came up with 6 feet. It wasn't until we had high-speed photography in the early 1940s that scientists saw a sneeze or cough or yell could send liquid droplets out 3 to 6 feet. So a new study published in the Journal of Clinical Infectious Diseases says that 3 feet is enough as long as everyone's masked. Masks is a whole nother
That was a
one you
fun
can get
time.
into. But I heard someone it might have been Chris Cuomo talking about how the problem with Fauci was, he's not a politician, okay? He's just a scientist and a physician. And which is fucking bullshit on its face. If you want more bullshit coming to Chris, make no mistake about what Dr. Fauci is, okay? He's the evil guy in Dallas Buyers Club.
I was going to say,
right?
I got 2 drops right here that explain all his evil.
Yeah, Dallas Buyers Club being one of them, which is about the early days of the AIDS.
Yep.
That won McConaughey an Oscar.
Yep.
He's got AIDS.
I didn't give him those AIDS. Fauci's the bad guy in that movie, by the way.
Yeah.
For the record. So if you're wondering about Fauci, it's longest.
Fauci set gay culture back like 50 years.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he talked about kids being able to get AIDS from cereal.
Yeah.
Eating cereal, sitting on the same toilet seat. You know what? In his defense, in Fauci's defense, I've never understood. Like, to me, the AIDS thing, right? Like, needles, cocks and just ramming through an asshole and just tearing it to shit, blood involved, and then
it's mostly just blood to blood when it mixes.
Blood to blood, yeah. And so if you get a really big, thick, veiny black cock through an asshole,
it's going to do some damage.
It's going to do some damage. You're going to get the AIDS.
Be a problem.
You know, and I didn't give him those AIDS, but that's
and when he had those AIDS, I went to my synagogue and I prayed for him.
That's one way to get it. So it never made sense to me why mosquitoes couldn't.
Yeah.
Like if a mosquito lands on AIDSy and then it fills up and then lands on me and I go, and there's or it stings me, it gets into me. Why wouldn't that be like a fucking dirty needle? Like it's never made sense to me.
It might be like if you go like immediate bite the bite, then it could be a thing. Like if a mosquito bites an AIDS guy and goes straight to you,
that story
maybe.
would be out there
But
just
also,
to freak people out.
It might not be enough blood or something like that. It could be something like that.
I don't know. I always thought
I don't have AIDS, so I've avoided it throughout my whole culture. I'm good.
Yeah, he's not a politician. No, make no mistake about what Anthony Fauci is. Tony Fauci is a grubby sleazebag, fucking bought and paid for politician. That's what he is. Sorry, you could. That dude hasn't seen a patient ever. At least 50 years. That guy hasn't seen a patient in 50 years.
Oh yeah,
he's a bureaucrat across the board. Don't use him as your example. Like, oh, the problem is he's just a scientist. He's just a clinician. Get the fuck out of here. No, he's not. He's a bureaucrat. That's all he is. And he was terrible. He should let him be in the politics side. Shouldn't have been the spokesperson. You know. Anyways,
you want to know the other drop related to his crimes?
Yeah.
It's the Beagle.
Oh yeah. Don't forget the Beagle, folks. And I know people that were all Team Fauci until that Beagle story came out. Fucking A, man.
He tried to make the Beagles in the U right now.
Sandflies?
No vocal cords?
Yeah. They cut the Beagle dog's vocal cords because they got the people working in the lab got tired of hearing the screams and wails from the Beagle puppies. So they would take Beagle puppies and they would cover their faces and they would zip them in. So just their heads were in the bag, and for science, for scientific research. Let's just load it with sandflies and let them eat the Beagle's face to death, and see how the Beagle react. I don't even know what the point was.
I don't.
Maybe we got a nice. It was sciencey. It was super sciencey. Maybe we got maybe ladies, you've got a beautiful new herbal essences shampoo out of it. Maybe you've
sand
got
flea repellent.
Sand flea, yeah, it's been sand flea Beagle face tested.
Yep.
And so they and it was like, oh, these fucking Beagle puppies won't shut up. We're just trying to let these things eat their faces off in real time, and they won't shut up. And his answer was, just cut their vocal cords. Just cut the vocal cords. Then we don't have to listen to them bitching.
They'll still scream. We just can't hear them.
Yeah, they'll scream their heads off, but none of you will hear it. It'll be fine. So, the fact that he's still up there talking on podiums with any sort of credibility, like, I don't know, man. As far as I know, most people I know adore animals. And I'm not one like, oh, yeah, science is fucking cruel at times. It is. But there's limits to stuff. And I would be lying to you if I wasn't okay turning the other cheek when it's like, they fucking did some experiments on mice and monkeys, but it helped humanity. I'd be lying to you if I wasn't okay with some of that. Like, what am I going to do about it?
I just don't want to see it.
No, you're right. I don't want to see it. Is your mic on there? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I don't want to see it either. Don't want to see it. Don't tell me. It's the same thing with chicksons. I love chicksons.
You know what's even better about all that Beagle stuff is that we were the ones paying for it. It was tax funded.
Yeah, of course. Everything he's ever done is tax funded. Everything.
I think you say it, Mike, a lot about your food.
Yeah,
I don't want delicious, but I don't want to see.
I don't want to know where it comes from. I don't want to see it. The same thing with I'm never going to be the guy throwing fucking cans of paint on some woman wearing a fur coat. Like, I'm never going to be that guy. I'm not going to be that crazy person. I'm realist enough to understand that advancements in humanity require
a little struggle,
a lot of struggle. It is what it is, but I think there's a big difference between scientific breakthroughs and like that sort of thing, and like Let's see what happens when you put sand flies all over a beagle's face and eat it to death.
I'm even trying to look it up, like why they did the experiment. I'm not finding anything.
What are you finding?
Everyone's saying yes, he did.
There's pictures.
I know there's pictures. What I'm saying is everyone says yes that he did the experiment, but nobody knows why. I'm just trying to go through different articles.
What do they say?
They're just saying yes, he did the experiment, and that he has to defend it.
Green brought that up.
Did she?
Yeah, in the thing, and he just went, "What's this got to do with COVID?"
Yeah, that's a perfect answer for Fauci. Perfect answer. And I would expect nothing less. Expect nothing less. Yeah, what does that have to do with it? Which, on its face, is true.
Well, I think she was pointing out, you're saying this
COVID?
is science. What does that have to
Yeah. And maybe there's a very good reason. Maybe, I mean, I don't think there is. But, maybe he could come up with a scientific explanation. He should be prepared for it, if nothing more. Like, we had some extra money and we wanted to fuck around with these beagles. I don't know what to tell you.
I got it.
What were they trying to figure out? Because if they went,
that's what I
you know
found.
what? Today's advancements in cancer research are
It gets
strictly
worse.
behind these fucking beagle
Oh, no,
faces
wait, it
being
gets
eaten
worse.
alive. Good. What is it?
So the White Coat Waste Project, the nonprofit organization that first pointed out the U.S. taxpayers were being used, blah, 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 Wuhan Institute had now turned cites Fauci animal testing matter, infecting dozens of beagles with disease-causing parasites to test an experimental drug. So that's why I put him in the sand fleas. So
Wait, say that again. I'm sorry. I was just reorganizing.
Infecting dozens of beagles with disease-causing parasites to test an experimental drug on them. But here's the part where it gets even better. House members, most of whom were Republicans, want Fauci to explain himself. And the White Coat Project, what I would said that. According to the White Coat Waste Project, the Food and Drug Administration does not require drugs to be tested on dogs. So the group is asking why they needed such testing.
Yeah.
So he didn't even have to test it on the dogs.
We have the money. If we don't spend it, they'll cut our budget next year. Spend it on whatever you want, whatever you come up
Just
with.
buy a fucking car like everyone else, man. I don't know.
Yeah, fucking madness. Yeah, that one I know. I mean, I remember Beth. Beth was nurse, fully in on the left wing liberal nonsense that's going on, fully engrossed in it. Surprised her hair's not purple yet. But that was like the end of the road for Fauci. It was like, really? I've been telling you he's a monster for fucking 3 years.
Yeah.
It took that. That's what you needed to see.
It was all for testing experimental medication on dogs that they didn't have to test. They just didn't even have to test it anyways.
Yeah.
Good job.
Fucking madness, man. Anyway, we'll cut some of that stuff. I would be remiss if I didn't say, happy Pride Month starting for you, Garrett.
Thank you.
I know
Actually, speaking of Pride Month, I'm getting supported.
This is big for your community.
I'm getting supported already.
Are you?
Aaron came in. Any lighthearted story, toik or cum flute stories today?
Or
toik or cum flutes.
flute? Yeah.
That's for $2 from Aaron.
Okay, thank you, Aaron.
Yeah, thank you.
How do Aaron? What I need you to do? Well, he's coming over tonight. He's helping there. That's why Travis is here. We're having a meeting.
Yeah. Business
I'm
meeting.
having a meal. Little business stuff about how the studio is going to work.
Meeting? I said a meal.
About going forward with a temp studio kind of setup. So I had to order some equipment, and Trav wanted Aaron here so we could ask. I want to know how much money is in the has been dumped into the fucking.
I'll figure it out eventually.
Whatever. What is it called? The super chats. And you can do that too if you're watching us on YouTube and super chat. I was just going to give the money to our boy here.
It's Pride Month, man. Time to support me.
All $50 of it so far. So it's. I know it doesn't mean anything, but it's better than nothing.
Mostly from his dad, though.
Yeah.
Mostly from his mom. No, his smoking hot mom is throwing a few dollars in there
I gotta
too.
see a
My
picture
mom
of your
tries
mom.
to one up my
She's hot.
dad. That's the fun of it.
Yeah, I like it. She's like, oh, that fucking.
Oh, they do it
asshole.
all the time. Like it's at a point too where my parents, one will vote one way, my mom will, or dad, whatever way, they'll specifically vote the other way just to cancel the other one out.
Yeah,
because it's funny.
look, I'm not above canceling someone's
It's just
vote.
'cause it's petty and it's
I'm
funny.
not above it. I've done that with Raj. I've done that with the warden.
That's about how I vote.
You
I'm
know,
just like, I don't like that guy, so I'll vote against whatever he's saying.
yeah. Well, you should pipe in like once a show and be like, oh, Gary donated $100 in super
you go.
chat. Just start that.
What do you gotta say for
ball
that one,
rolling.
Mom?
Yeah. What are you gonna do, hot mom? Smoking hot mom. So it is your month. How do you feel about your month starting?
Oh, it's the same every year. Everybody
Yeah.
wants to be all rah pride, but they don't actually support shit.
Yeah. I feel like we've gone through the list quite a few times about how much Pride support there is out there, how many flags and days you fuckers get.
many.
And it's like literally multiple for every day. Like there's not a day that is not somewhere
There's a
celebrated.
trans day inside a trans week inside a trans month.
Yes, that lesbians are pissed about.
Yeah.
Especially the black ones. Like it
doesn't make
is
sense to me.
what it is. I love this story. It comes out every year.
I love this picture.
At the start of Pride Month, this happens every year. And it never is not funny. It's never not perfect. BMW's official corporate account on X, no offense to Trav up there with his fancy new BMW. They're saying the quiet part out loud when someone dared to ask why the car company's Middle East-facing logo has not been subjected to the same Pride Month rainbow flag treatment as the logo seen in the U.S. So this is as simple as all these companies, just like all of us, have a Facebook account, have a Twitter account, and nothing makes these people feel more virtuous than changing their fucking symbol to something incorporating their logo and a rainbow, or black for fucking BLM support, or the Palestine flag.
The blue and yellow for a while.
Blue and yellow, yes. Ukraine colors. Like they love patting themselves on the back. Like they're real heroes. They're champions for the cause. And we are so brave. And we stand with the hardships that these people are going through on the daily. Well, they do that where it's already like you're not fighting for any rights as a gay person in America.
No.
Stop it.
You got all your rights.
You have all your rights. Your rights have not been in jeopardy here in many, many years. They just haven't. Your allegiance is not needed in America, okay? And everybody, by and large, not everybody, obviously, you would be hard-pressed to find someone, if someone attacked someone today in America based on the fact of their sexual status, what their preference may be, you would get such overwhelming condemnation of the person that attacked that person for being gay that it would grind the country to a halt. Does anybody think that wouldn't happen? If you had your typical typecast bullies from 80s Hollywood pictures in their leather jackets, picking on 5 kids from the football team, white guys, of course, picking on the lone gay kid in the high school and beating him up, pushing him down, kicking him. What do you think the response would be in this country?
Yeah.
Do you think that would be laughed off? Do you think that would be joked about? Or do you think the whole country would come to a screeching halt, a month of silence, and pride parades for eternity over that? Because that's what I think would happen.
I think so too.
Right.
At this point, day and age, yeah.
We know that to be the case. So BMW, Libs of TikTok shared the series of screenshots we're looking at now. We'll show that for anybody watching on YouTube. And there's Mercedes, and the Mercedes.
Yep.
What is the Mercedes logo?
It's that little like peace sign almost looking thing.
I know that's what it is, but what is that? Just a design? Whatever.
It's got like a little bit of a rainbow to the design.
Oh yeah, no, I see it.
Okay.
BMW has gate up theirs as well. Cisco looks like
they just made their bridge into a rainbow.
The bridge, is that supposed to be the Bay Bridge or the Golden Gate? Probably
probably.
Bay, one of the bridges out in California. The Cisco bridge is all gate up. Lenovo, they've gate up their logo. What is that? Bethesda?
I know Bethesda.
What is Bethesda?
They're the guys who make Fallout. They're
Fallout.
a game company. That's
the
shirt I'm wearing right now.
Sure. And they're gay as shit. They've got it. They just went, fuck it. Put the pride.
They put the pride flags in the game.
Pride. Oh, really?
Yeah.
In the game, in context. Like
No,
I don't have
no.
a problem with that.
Out of context. It doesn't even fit the world you're in. It's a post-apocalyptic universe. You can build a little fort and you can put a gay flag on it.
Oh, cool.
I do it as a statement just to be funny.
Yeah. No, I would do that too. It's
it
why
right up.
when people get texts from
This
me,
is
they
my
get
death camp. Don't raid me.
yeah,
Gay flag.
black fist emojis. Like I have
Black
no
fist,
business
gay
saying those.
flag.
Like fuck yeah, I would dude. If you give me the option to do gay stuff like that in a video,
yeah.
absolutely I would.
Oh,
That's
I
hilarious.
only click other genders on anything.
Yeah. I hope I've trained
love when
this
they say fill it
audience
in.
well enough that that's what you're supposed to do.
I love filling in my own. That's the best.
Yeah. I send more eggplants and squirting emojis to people than is fucking
Mostly to me. What the fuck?
Is healthy. I send more eggplant squirting to people than is healthy. Period. So these people. So that picture that's up there shows what is done to their logos on all these accounts in America versus the BMW Middle East, Mercedes Middle East, and it's like.
Same zone. Nope. We ain't touching this.
BMW is blue and white with a black circle around it, period. That's it. Mercedes is the silver spokes, 3 of them with a circle. That's it. Cisco, bridge, that's it. And no pride in anything. So Libs of TikTok shared this for years. Other people have shared this too. This is not original.
I've had this image on my phone for years.
Yeah, it's funny, and it should be more insulting to people than it is, honestly. Every single year, this will not be funny. I agree with whoever posted that. But then someone in the comments asked BMW, how come you don't proudly display your logos, pride colors on your Middle East posts? And the response was obvious, but rather unexpected, I'd say, that you don't usually get these people responding to this type of thing. They just ignore, they pretend they didn't see it, and they just want you to move on. Just we want props for being super gay friendly or whatever they think they're gaining. Well,
especially like a luxury brand like BMW,
right?
Like one of those highfalutin companies. Like you can expect this out of like a more lowballed sort of like mom and pop shops type deal, or like a small chain of restaurants or something.
Yeah,
kind of crazy coming from like a multinational highfalutin car company.
What in which
to just
way?
come out and say it?
Oh yeah,
say the quiet
respond
part out loud.
And you know what? It wouldn't surprise me at all if BMW came out with a different statement tomorrow, officially from BMW.
Sorry, that was a rogue agent.
Yeah, that was someone who handles our Twitter handle. Yeah, Bill, who handles our Twitter.
Remember the guy who started Stopped Hibernating? That was him.
Yeah. The response was obvious. This is what BMW's account said. This is an established practice at the BMW Group, which also takes into consideration market-specific legal regulations and country-specific cultural aspects. Wow. That is, come here, gay person I know, and let me slap you across the fucking face.
You want to know why not?
Insulting.
Because they fucking hate gays.
They don't like those people hate. Wait, why aren't we doing that? Because those people want to throw you off roofs. That's why. So we let them do their thing. They can throw you off the roofs.
Think we can fucking sell a car with a rainbow over there?
Yeah, hell
Fuck
no.
yourself.
No, they still say the F word. Yeah, the bad one.
All of them.
They say all those words. They really hate the gay. So yeah, this is an established practice of the BMW Group, which also takes into consideration market-specific legal regulations and country-specific cultural aspects. The reality is, these giant companies have never given a fuck 1 second about your community. They just like they don't give a shit about me, right? They are in the business of selling product. Period. That they're not going to do if it costs them a nickel, they're not going to do it. So if they think by putting a fucking rainbow around their logo in the Middle East will cost one fucking rab in the desert to go, I ain't buying a BMW.
And I'm pretty sure the desert is like Saudi Arabia, especially biggest market for BMW, Lexus, Mercedes, any
Lamborghini.
Oh, yeah.
Outside of Miami, yeah.
They really don't want to fuck around over there because that's probably their best market.
They're not going to fucking piss into the wind there. They're not going to do it. So, yeah. And the fact is, I had written down here, nobody's asking for this type of thing. It's fraudulent. I don't believe for a second you stand with any community. I think you're in the business of selling cars. That's what you want to do. This is a giant virtue signal. We see it all the time from every one of these companies, and we usually roll our eyes. You just go, oh, okay. Yeah. What's the cause du jour you guys are actively supporting now? Oh, you're all for Black Lives Matter, rioting throughout your neighborhoods now and destroying our shit parts of town. Sure you are. Cool. Oh wow. By simply throwing up a few fucking rainbow flags, there, you've done your job. You're all inclusive. The fact is, it's not asked for people. And people in America are simply polite and tolerant.
Yeah.
That's what it is. They're not going to push back and go, I mean, maybe there's one or two, but there's not many. Most people who were going to buy a BMW yesterday will still buy that BMW today. And it's like, yeah, cool. They're waving a fucking cute flag. Hilarious. Most of us see through it. We're too polite and too like, whatever, dude. Wave around whatever.
Yeah.
You can go too far. You can. Bud Light got dangerously close to the knife's edge. And they got their pee-pee slapped when
Pretty
they
hard.
did. Pretty fucking hard. And I would argue deservedly so in a lot of respects. Because of everything that came before it. In an isolated moment that it's whatever. It's stupid. They're trying to be cool. They're trying to be in with the trans community. It was on the backs of everything else that led to it, where all of a sudden people being simply polite and tolerant went, fuck off. Enough. That's what Bud Light was meant with. Where the gay community really could use some help is in oppressed nations. Duh. Where it fucking matters. People are making comments like, oh, you're willing to be stunning, I see, but not so brave.
Yeah.
And that's the reality. Nobody in America needs to see that you're waving a pride flag.
It's not dangerous here.
It's not dangerous. It hasn't been dangerous for many fucking years. And I'll say, I had a story in here we'll never have time to get to, but this is making the rounds, internet. It's making the rounds on the internet, like Reddit and stuff, about GQ's 1995 overrated list. And it's just a bunch of shit from Bjork, righteousness about Ticketmaster, lattes, Pat Riley. And it's kind of funny nostalgic to go through these things and be like, oh yeah, I remember when that was cool in 1995. One of them, poetry slams. One of the things under is gender ambiguity. Gay stand-up comedy. Which means, like, I'm not here to debate whether 1995 was right, that these things are overrated or need to go away.
But it sounds like it was a big thing.
But it was a fucking thing in 1995. Your shit comedy has been going on for 30 years.
It is shit comedy.
How about you just do comedy?
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be gay comedy. If your world involves a few gay aspects of it because that's your reality, great. So be it.
That's what I tell everybody. I mean, it's cool to be gay, but have a personality anyway.
Yeah. How about gay isn't your whole existence?
Exactly.
And identity?
I hate those people.
So
hate them.
You would hope that these people would, for purposes of solidarity, I think it would be who's going to be the first company, the brave company, to actually put that logo in the Middle East, put that fucking pride flag up in a showroom in Saudi Arabia. Who's going to be, and maybe Saudi Arabia is a bad example, but somewhere. Who's going to do that in Iraq?
Yeah.
Who's going to do that in Syria? Who's going to put a trans fucking awareness flag in one of those countries where the stakes do matter?
So don't go too
where
crazy
the
with
cost,
trans flag.
Well, where the cost is real, where this might really fucking hurt
So let's
you.
start with the gay flag. You go trans, they might just execute everyone on the spot.
Maybe so. Dude, it's funny.
Start with the gay, work your way up.
It's interesting just because,
Start with
I've
lesbians. That's usually the easiest to onboard.
No, I think the regular gay, everyone loves a good gay dude.
Occasionally,
Gay
but
dudes
there's
are
a lot
fine.
of straight guys who get a little uncomfortable.
Lesbians can be hit or miss.
You get a couple lipstick lesbians, you can get a lot more people
Oh,
on board. And then you
lipsticks,
bring in the gay guys, and then you bring in the actual lesbians.
Yeah, lipsticks,
It's
yes.
steps to it.
But even them can be like,
If we just
I
throw
hate
trans
men.
right in their face, it's going to be a huge issue.
Yeah, I agree with you. But if you just prance a few gay guys, normal gay guys.
Have them yell Buchabazi a couple times, they'll be okay.
Wait, what was Buchabazi again?
Isn't that the active
Man,
yeah.
kid,
Man boy love, little Nambla over there?
Yeah, a little Nambla. Okay. Yeah, I that would be impressive, and I'd be the first one to come on the air and go, wow, you know what, BMW, that's fucking balls, man. That maybe you do actually give a shit about something more than just the bottom line dollar amount you can make. And maybe, there's going to be rough days ahead in countries where being gay is frowned upon and blah, 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 and it's culturally not acceptable. Those are rough fucking days. When you try to break through that, America's long broken through that. Canada's long broken through that. Europe has long. Like, who are you parading yourself out? Like, look at me. I put a rainbow. Like, ugh. it's icky now. It's icky when they do that.
Yeah.
It's fucking creepy and gross. Like, the rest of us can just accept the gay community without even wave banners on our porch going, look at me. I would expect you to have a gay fucking pride flag.
You know what the funniest thing is?
On your porch. Why
don't.
wouldn't you? It's your thing. Fucking
We don't
go
have a
for
pride
it.
flag, but both our neighbors do.
Yeah.
And they're not gay people. They're all in straight relationships, man and woman. We've
What
confirmed
city?
it.
What city?
Westland, but still,
Westland.
it's like
Yeah, it's
we're
kind of cool in
It's
Westland.
funny that it's like we have gay flags on both our neighbors, and we're the
Yeah.
actual gay couple who doesn't have any. I was actually thinking of just for Pride Month flying the grandson out front,
Yeah.
just to be a shithead.
Oh, dude.
Just that neighbors are looking at me like, look, these anti-gay motherfuckers. It's the actual gay couple in the neighborhood.
When I pulled up at Beth's one day, we were going to dinner just, I don't know, a year or two ago. And I pulled up there to pick her up, and she had a trans flag hanging on the fucking ground. Like, Jesus fucking Christ, man.
Marina got one of those. When
And
I first
half
started
the
selling
reason
them.
is just to fuck with me, piss me
Yeah.
off, stuff like that.
Well, don't worry. I told Marina I was going to hang her trans flag underneath my grandson, just really confuse him.
Under your what?
My grandson that don't tread on me, and then the trans flag underneath.
Oh, yeah,
it.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
really throw people off.
Yeah. So, maybe there will be more pushback in the future as Gay Pride Month hits and people are more called out for this kind of thing. Like, do you have any idea how fucking safe it is? Like, if they don't put the rainbow flag on their BMW logo now on America, BMW America or Cisco America or Lenovo America, if they don't do it, they'll be called out viciously. Like, you used to do it in years past. Why don't you do it now? Like, that would be the problem.
Yeah.
That they just went, yeah, it really doesn't need
Why
to be
didn't
out
Bethesda
there.
use a rainbow flag this year?
Yeah, well, exactly. What is Bethesda?
Are they
hate
racist?
gays now? Do they hate the gay? But if you really wanted to make a statement, you wouldn't give a shit. You'd be bold enough, brave enough, stunning enough to put it in the Middle East. Throw a fucking flag out there, even if it's just on your fucking icon. I'm not saying you need to endanger the employees of the shop there by hanging a fucking rainbow flag.
You might.
That you might.
Even the icon on
But
Twitter, though, you might.
Icon on Twitter, I don't know. The fucking, Rab sitting in the showroom can
Yeah.
go, dude, I just sell fucking BMWs, man. Says nothing to do with me. Leave whatever bullshit decisions they're making in America based on the worldwide Twitter account. Leave me out of it. I think even fucking people that were pissed would recognize that. But, for all these people that think like bringing millions of illegals in, they're going to vote Democrat because we all blah, blah, blah. Dude, I'm telling you, I've been talking to a lot of illegals
90%
around
of
here
the world
that
hates gays.
working on the yard. And one of them, not working on the yard, but all over the house, doing all types of shit. And I've got Venezuelans and fucking Mexicans, and these Venezuelans are fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Some of the hardest working dudes I
Oh, yeah.
know, bold, rude at times, but
It's the country.
Yeah, and one of them just had a kid, and he's like, "Yeah, Michael, it's my daughter." And I go, "Well, it could be your son. Who knows yet? I heard doctors just take a guess." And he just stopped. He goes, "What?" And I go, it could, you say it's your daughter, but it could be
you
your
even
son.
fucking joke about
And he
that.
was like, if my daughter claimed to be my son, I fucking kill her. He was like, no, I kill her to death.
Yeah,
He
unfortunately-
was dead serious.
Yeah.
Dead serious. Like, it wasn't even a joke. It was. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of how I think
I'm not going
most
to get
of
into
you people
Marina's
would feel.
business, but her parents are Venezuelan and
Yeah.
Puerto Rican, so
Yeah. The Venezuelans
We
out
deal
there
with
are not jumping on board with
we
that
deal with a
shit.
little bit of it.
Yeah.
And they're Americans, like they're citizens. They've been here a while.
All right, let's wrap this up. I feel like I'm talking too loud, and I can feel my voice
Okay.
running down on me.
You're getting pretty loud over there.
Yeah, sorry. John, thanks again for stopping by, dude. It was fun to see. I haven't seen you in many years since a remote or something.
Yeah, the
probably years
trivia,
ago.
first annual trivia contest.
Was that the
The
really?
first annual.
It was the very first
The one
one.
Amy won.
Yeah, I
She won them
finished-
both.
I
really.
finished third in that.
Were you third in that one?
Yeah, but you guys misnamed me the next day. I think you called
Oh,
me
really?
somebody else, and so my hashtag in the Facebook group was "Forgotten Contestant."
Oh, okay.
Hashtag Forgotten Contestant.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We do
That's all
that.
right.
We can do that sometimes. My bad. Well, we'll give you credit now. You came in third.
Yeah.
Do you remember who came in second? Gross.
It was. Oh gosh, I can't remember. It was
Jim
a guy.
Fox.
No, it wasn't
Because
Fox.
Jim Fox claims victory in round two. And Amy, this if anything's going
No,
to
it
bring me and
wasn't-
Amy to fist fight.
If I heard his name, I would know it. I can't. I'm terrible with names now. I'm too old.
Yeah, me too.
I'm sure they'll pop off in the comments soon.
Yeah.
We'll see it. We'll get an email.
Those were fun, though.
Yeah. Oh,
Those
it
were
was
fun.
a blast.
You guys were great.
It was,
I'm shocked at how much. You know, one of the things I threw away when I was like gutting everything, I found the can with the original questions from that contest. We had 3x5 cards that they were written on with the answers on the back. And Jay and E and I sat down here for like 2 days, just coming up with the wildest shit we could come up with that we could ask you guys. And so we had a coffee can, like a Folgers coffee can with a lid on it and just a hole cut in it. We could pull them out, and I opened it up, and sure as shit, those questions were still in there.
Awesome.
And I just chucked it.
I literally
Bye-bye.
studied for that event. So
Yeah.
I think you guys mentioned like listen to certain episodes or something like that.
Yeah.
So I just kept replaying them, and
Yeah.
it helped out a lot.
Yeah.
It
Well,
was
that's
fun.
cool. So I can't remember how we even decided who was going to be in the contest.
I just
couldn't have
emailed
anyone.
in and said, "Hey, I'd like to be."
That's right. That's right. So was it the first few, or did we do a pre-screen? Like, we didn't want someone that was totally not going to know anything.
I don't know, but I know you had a people that we thought were gonna absolutely blow everybody away, like a Brad and
Yeah, Brad Wolf,
Brad Wolf,
Yep.
and there
Yeah.
was somebody else. I can't remember what his name was.
Joel.
Joel, yes,
Joel, yeah.
we thought for sure was going to run away with it. One of those
But
two,
they,
and
but
they were out
kinda
in like round
smoked.
one.
Yeah. This is going back years. I don't
Oh, yeah.
remember.
No, I remember him.
Do you remember this?
Yeah, isn't Wolfie the one who made that drawing?
Oh yeah. Wolfie
Made the-
doesn't listen anymore, I don't think, but he was a big supporter for a long time. He had all the drawings. I found a shitload of those. I threw all that.
Didn't
shit.
he
I
make
was
this table?
He made this table. Absolutely. He was great, man. He was super supportive.
No, I will say, this show
his
has-
wife made some cookies once and brought them over with our faces on them. And then they made cookies with some of his drawings, like of me, fat guy with a red fanny pack. And Jay, and it's like Jay's got the bulge in his cock.
I missed those drawings.
They're fucking hilarious.
I'll get Marina on some.
Hilarious. What's that?
I'll get Marina on some drawings. She does that stuff.
Does she?
She's a great artist.
But no, these are like stick figures, but they actually look like.
Oh, that's
us.
even
Like,
funnier.
that's the brilliance.
That's even
of them.
funnier.
Exactly.
The brilliance
You
of
knew
them.
who they were,
You
each
knew-
one of them.
Oh my God, you knew exactly. I have a T-shirt upstairs, a members only T-shirt that I never put out. I'll give it to you. You can have it.
Oh, thank
Can
you.
you fit it in extra large, or is that way too big for you?
No, that's fine. That's fine.
But it's. I know it'd be way too big.
Oh,
on
it's
you.
fine. I'm good.
But it's members only TDC, and it's Wolfie's drawing of me, Eric, and Jay, and it's one of my favorites. But I got voted out because it wasn't proper enough. It's like, dude, we're a fucking idiot show. Like,
Yeah.
why would anyone expect us to whatever? Stupid.
I would not
But
veto
anyways,
that shirt, don't worry.
we had what's that?
I wouldn't veto that shirt. That sounds like a great
Oh,
shirt.
it's fucking dope. And I fought my ass off because getting 2 colors on a shirt is one price. If you add a third or a fourth color, the price goes through the roof. And I was like, dude, you cannot have the red fanny pack has to be red.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to add a third
That
color.
was the
Have
key
to.
to knowing that's Mike. There's the red fanny pack.
Yeah. Take a picture of it and post it for people because we never gave that shirt out. No one's ever had one. So you'll be the only person to have one.
I had my son there, and I think Eric was giving shirts away, and Jay said something about you got to give it to the high school kid, and he gave it to somebody else so that you guys could get some of these younger kids into this.
Yeah.
And they called them the.
I was already there.
Yeah, you were one of the young kids. Yeah.
Oh, well, maybe you could have gotten it then too. So yeah, it was just one of those things that it would have been cool.
Yeah.
It just absolutely. I still have the shirt that you guys gave me. I
Okay.
did win it with a random question that you threw out.
Okay.
And luckily, it was one of those questions I studied.
Yeah.
So it
Nice.
paid off eventually.
Well, congrats, man.
I appreciate the time here. This has just been awesome.
Good.
It's an honor.
Did you get a couple pictures?
I got a couple.
Okay, good.
No, like I was saying, we got some of the most loyal fans. I put out a call on Facebook earlier today, just like, hey, give me your favorite moments from the show. I'm trying to compile some stuff, pull it all together. Dude, there are moments I didn't even remember, and I've been listening
really?
since high school. Like I'm 10 years into this podcast, and people are just like, there are a lot of Big E moments, which is
Yeah,
funny
oh,
because
yeah,
everyone
dude,
who
how
hates
can
Big
you
E,
not?
it's like, dude, he's like one of the best, most memorable people on the show.
That was always my
I got
point.
calls
with him.
for like the
It's
time Jay beat him up that one time. That
was
yeah,
mine.
yeah,
when he
there
called
you go.
Beth a cunt.
Yeah, I think he called it.
Is that what it
I think
was?
he called his wife a cunt.
Yeah.
And Jay just jumped out of his chair and started beating the shit out of him. It was so fucking hysterical.
Yeah. Dude, there have been some funny fucking moments over the years.
Yeah.
If you look at them, they really have.
I gotta get what's that guy's name? The impressionist that was on the show.
Oh, Frank Caliendo?
Yeah, I gotta get him reading Eric's diary. That's what I'm looking for. later on.
That Frank doing that. Yeah. That was, Morgan Freeman. He did, That one's funny. But, there's a couple guys over the years who have compiled and had lists. So feel free to reach out to
That's
Eric.
what I did. I reached out to
Eric,
Facebook.
There are people that will know exactly where that shit is.
Episode names, bonus points, timestamps.
Joel might be able to help with that. And there was one other guy. Fuck, I can't remember. But there was another guy who had like super detailed, could tell you episode numbers and timestamps.
Oh, hell yeah.
So
figure it
if
out.
anyone remembers.
Yeah, I know. I remember there was a guy that just to a T.
Yeah. All right, we'll go out. James sent an email, and it was about the Appeal to Heaven flag.
Okay.
So that's that flag. That
He'd probably know something about it. That
what
tree
was it?
with the white?
Tree, that's right. It was like a cartoonish.
Well, you can put any tree there.
drawing.
It doesn't have to be the drawing one. I noticed that people were putting like actual pictures of trees on them.
Oh,
It's the same
really?
flag. Yeah, so it has to be a pine tree in a white background.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, he says, I've been flying it since I got my pole. How does the libertarian not know our history? That's
I
a
didn't know
shot
about
at
that
you,
one.
dude.
That's fine.
Apparently this is.
He can call me out for that one. I didn't even know it was like a crazy
either.
libertarian. I thought it was obviously it's George Washington's, his battalion flag, which
Potomac,
makes sense
what
because
is
like
it,
he was
like
the first president. He was very libertarian,
Yeah.
anti two-party system, very small government guy. He's like the
Yeah.
founder of libertarianism. I get it. I just didn't even know that shit.
Well, are you stunning and brave enough to fly one of those now?
I think I am.
Yeah,
I
think you are too.
I was gonna say I'm about to fly. Don't tread on me.
Dude,
on the back of my car. I don't care.
If anyone gives you shit, you just pull out your fag pass, you pull out your credentials. Your credentials are fucking
Oh,
a
yeah.
first ballot Hall of
I'll
Fame.
just pull Marina's pants down.
Right? I mean, you got a fucking gay guy and a tranny living in a house together. Like, dude, if
we're set.
You
if
can
your
do anything.
credentials don't fly and you've
know.
got a hot mom on top of it, like, dude, your credentials
Who
are
works
through
at a
the
domestic
roof.
violence shelter, which is something that
Who
they always
works?
tap
Yes,
onto.
exactly.
See?
Exactly. Yeah,
do
you've
a
got
lot for the
all the
community.
bases covered. You could hang a "Don't Tread on Me" flag.
Yep.
You could probably fucking hang a swastika flag if you wanted.
I might have a little trouble with that one.
All right, let's call it there. We did an hour and 50 today.
Okay.
It's not bad. We'll call it there. I got to go help out Trav and AA Ron and Drew Lane tomorrow. So we look forward to bringing Drew in here and shooting the shit with him. Don't forget, the day after that, Mark and Brandon and Bentley will be in here. And then Friday, we'll wrap up this studio with the one, the only Dave Landau. Should
I'm
be a lot of
excited.
fun. So thanks, everybody, for hanging with us, for listening. I'll get to reads tomorrow. I haven't forgotten about you guys, but I'm out of time. All right. Have a great rest of the day. We'll talk to you soon.